Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Tips and Tricks with Professor Alex. I myself have immigrated to Canada and I have enjoyed the benefits. I'd love to tell all of you the benefits of moving to Canada. The question is, should you move to Canada? Is the Canada the right place to move for work and for immigration? Let's go into that. Canada is one of the best countries to move in. I myself, from my experience, I can tell you, it's one of the best countries for immigration. Why? For work, why? Let's delve into the details. Number one, Canada has one of the safest environment available of all the countries. The country is so safe. I remember when I was studying in the University of British Columbia as a graduate student, one of my roommates had a medical emergency. He called 911 and within 2 minutes, the police car came, the fire engine came, the ambulance came. My friends, can you imagine? Within 2 minutes, the police, the ambulance, the fire brigade came. I can tell you from my first-hand experience, Canada is one of the safest countries in the world. Number two, Canada has one of the most high-tech industries of the world. Again, talking from my personal experience, I myself worked in a telecom company called TELUS as an IT project manager, and believe me, we worked with so many different companies as vendors, as partners. We worked with Best Buy, Accenture, so many different companies. Almost all the big companies in US have branches in Canada. Canada is a wonderful place to work in, full of opportunities, especially the bigger cities of Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, of Ottawa, of Vancouver. It's one of the best places to work in. Next point is Canada has one of the best healthcare systems. And most of the provinces have free healthcare. If you are the resident of the province, you will avail free healthcare. My friends, can you imagine? You don't have to worry about healthcare costs. It's one of the best countries for healthcare. The healthcare system is very developed. It is, fully funded, free. Number four, Canada has one of the best work-life balances. In Canada, people work very hard, but after work, they enjoy life with their family. So work-life balance is there in Canada. Number five, the points-based immigration system really encourages talent all over the world to come to Canada, to experience Canada, to contribute to Canada. So the points-based immigration system is something you should all try. There's the provincial nominee program, there is the express entry program. It is something that is very logical. One can just see their, what points you are getting. You can just see in the simulator, you can calculate, and you can build your points accordingly. If you give the IELTS, if you have a very good score, you'll have higher points. If you have a master's degree, you'll have a higher point. If your spouse has bachelor's or master's degree, you'll have higher points. If you have relatives in Canada, you'll have higher points. So there is a full points-based immigration system that is very logical. Other countries of the world emulate that system. So Canada is one of the best countries in the world, most friendly countries in the world to immigrate. Working in the Canadian workplace has one of the best diversity and inclusivity programs. Believe me, I was a visible minority when I got in, but believe me, I didn't feel like a minority. I felt I was one amongst them. In the Canadian society, the society is so friendly, so helpful. If you're a hard-working person, if you're a person that's a good intention to contribute to the society, believe me, Canada is the right place for you. It is full of people who will welcome you with open arms. It is full of people who will give you the opportunities that you need to grow in your career and in life. And the next point is, in Canada, the work permit, the express entry program, gives a pathway to immigration. If you have the Canadian job experience, if you have the Canadian job offer, believe me, these give very high points. in the immigration system, and it will give you a clear pathway to permanent residency. And once you are a PR of Canada, you have all the rights except the voting right, and you can stay for 3 or 4 more years and get your citizenship. So Canada is a place where you can dream of a hardworking person, a talented person can dream of making a future in Canada. Friends, let's now talk about some negative points, some cons of immigrating, of working in Canada. Nothing is there without, pluses and minuses. Even in the best place in the world, you have some shortcomings, you have some cons, some negatives. So what are the negatives in Canada? Number one, Canada, the cost of living is very high. In Canada, the quality of life is so nice, but the cost of living is high. The cost of buying a house, buying an apartment is quite high. So that is the number one cons of living in Canada. Number two, even though the healthcare system is free or funded by the province and by the federal government, in Canada, the wait times are pretty long unless you have an emergency, and even then, if you have an emergency, you may go to the hospital and wait for 3, 4, 5 hours before the doctor sees you. And if you don't have an emergency, you may wait for 7 to 8 months, 9 months in the Canadian healthcare system. So that is the number two cons of working in Canada. The number three cons is the taxes are quite high. Canada has one of the highest taxes. Of course, Canadians don't complain because they see the development, they see the benefits, they see the healthcare, free healthcare. So they accept taxes that they're paying to get the developed nation, to get the healthcare, to get the police protection, to get the safety in the community, to see the bridges built, to see the developed environment. But the fact remains that it has one of the highest taxes. Being called the true north, Canada does have some extreme weathers. Canada does have cold, harsh climates. But again, let me tell you, being from Canada, the environment, the infrastructure is such that you don't need to feel the cold weather. It is, the bus stands are heated, all the indoor malls, shops, homes, everything is heated. The cars are heated. So, the buses, trains, everywhere there is heating. So you don't face the problems, but it is true that it has harsh climates, especially the east, the Calgary, Edmonton, all those places have quite harsh winters. But if you like, the warm climate like I do, I prefer to stay in Vancouver. I prefer to go to Kelowna. They are in British Columbia. Those places, they don't get snow for more than 5, 6, 7 or 10 days a year. And that too, temperature doesn't go to minus 20, minus 30. It goes to minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, like that. It is quite comfortable except those 8 to 10 days. But again, as I was saying, everywhere there is heating, the malls, the bus stands, the cars, the offices, homes, everywhere there is heating system in place. I think the last cons of Canada is the competition in the job market. The economy is almost 10 times smaller than the United States, its southern neighbor. So people compare the job market with the US job market. The US economy is much bigger. The US population is almost 10 times. So naturally, the US job market is also almost 10 times higher. But whether as in Canada, the job market is not as high as US, but it has quite a developed tech economy. It has quite a developed tourism economy. It has quite developed automobile sector. It has quite developed mineral sector. It has quite developed service sector, healthcare sector. So if you belong to any of these sectors, they are quite developed. They have quite, a good number of jobs. But yes, if you compare to the United States, the economy, the job market is 10 times smaller. So that is a cons for many people, okay? But overall, if you look at the pros and cons, I would say Canada is one of the best places on the world to live, to immigrate, to work, to have a healthy work-life balance. Canada has one of the highest number of lakes in the world, the freshwater lakes. Canada does not have a problem with fresh water, with drinking water because of its climate, because of its abundance of freshwater lakes. Canada has the highest number of parks in the world, so you can understand abundance of parks, of lakes, of wildlife, abundance of natural beauty. On both sides, Canada has the oceans, Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. Canada has the Great Lakes in the south. So Canada is certainly one of the best places. The most abundance is there in Canada. The landmass is huge compared to a population of less than 40 million. The landmass, Canada is the second largest country in the world. So definitely, the landmass is great. But again, 90% of the population of Canada live within 100 square miles of the US border. So you can understand most of the population is concentrated near the US border. So that's Canada for you. It is one of the best countries of the world. I immigrated to Canada, but I never faced any problem of racial discrimination or problem of any inclusivity. Canada is such an inclusive society that really values immigrants who are hardworking, who are talented. So I really love Canada, and I invite you all to come to Canada. Thank you so much.